There's one thing too that I noticed about the press conference that I just want to add that I thought was very important. Hughes said that one of the three priorities when coming to the Canadians was getting to know the players as people. And Shane, I know you touched up a little bit about this before, and this is something that Bergevin did really well in the past. And this is something that obviously is a very underrated asset for any team going forward. And one thing that really like got my attention was that he doesn't want an organization that only evaluates whether a player is doing good or isn't doing good, but why they're not doing good or why they're performing. So
Mhm.
this is a very important aspect, especially when we look nowadays at some players like Peachy or Caulfield who may not be playing to the level that we know that they can be playing at. So this approach or this mentality, I'd rather say, is something that I think is very important when it comes to the future of this team and when it comes to getting these guys, especially Peachy, the veteran that he is. Hopefully this sort of mentality, it just shows us as fans that they want to work together to have the players in best interests in mind at all times and to really get down to the point on what they could do to make these guys play to the way that they know they could play to their potential.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like there's going to be a lot more care for the human being and not just the hockey player, right? I mean, you're not going to be treated like as much of a piece of meat. We've heard Dale say it countless times. He's felt that way as a player and as a person. You just feel like a piece of meat when you're traded and you've found what felt like home. I mean, even Nate Thompson said in an interview with us earlier last year that when he arrived in Montreal, he felt like he was home, and he was only there for one season. And, Danny Briere was only there for one season. Kovalchuk was there for a couple of months. Matthew Darche, Thomas Vanek. Some of the players that come to mind that have only been there for a short amount of time have not been any less impacted in how much pride there is to be part of the Montreal Canadiens. And I just think that sort of feeling of what it's like to put on the sweater is going to be re-emphasized from Gorton and Kent Hughes to players that maybe you wouldn't think in the past would ever come to the Canadiens, right? So I
Yep.
think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me is that these guys are going to do everything in their power to convince players to come play in the mecca of hockey. I've heard Brian Burke say that the Toronto Maple Leafs are the crown jewel of the NHL. That's completely wrong. The Montreal Canadiens are the mecca. They are the standard. They are the Yankees of the NHL. And it's no disrespect to Toronto. We got Leaf fans that watch our show. We've had Steve Dangle on before, all that kind of stuff. But the Montreal Canadiens are something different. You can't put it into words. Josh George said it on our show. Everybody that we've talked to that's actually physically put on the sweater and worn it has said that. And I don't think that's the end. They want to get that 25th cup. You know what I mean, guys? So I think you guys know what I'm getting at here is that
Yep.
there's such a level of pride. That's why we're doing this show. Why are we giving the Canadians all this attention all the time? There's a million media outlets out there covering this team. Why? What is it? What is it about the being a Montreal Canadian that is like no other? That's the selling feature. That's going to be the job of Mr. Well, Jeff Molson, obviously, but he's going to let Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes take care of this. And from a player agent perspective, they've got a huge advantage with Kent Hughes here, having a great relationship with players across the league. If he's there, why wouldn't players trust that they could also be there? That's exciting for Habs fans, I think.
That's right.
Yep. Very well
And
said.
a big point that came out of the press conference, a lot of people were talking about it. A lot of people wanted to know coming in is the situation with Dominique Ducharme. It was addressed twice, I believe. First time around, Kent Hughes, kind of navigated the question. And then second time around, he started naming guys like Barry Trotz as a good fit for the Islanders. John Cooper is a good fit for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Is Dominique Ducharme a good fit for the Montreal Canadiens? A lot of fans don't believe so, but it'll be up to Kent and Jeff Gorton to figure that out, right? They need to have some meetings with him, get to know his opinion, if he has the right criteria to be a head coach. That's what Kent Hughes said. So again, he didn't exactly cut the possibility of changing coaches, which I find interesting.
Yeah, and what I want to add a twist to that, to what you're saying here, Shane, and that twist is Dom the right coach for this team, or is the team that he's coaching is right for him?
Mhm.
So if they're making changes and playing a faster game, perhaps Dom Ducharme's system or his way of coaching might be more adapted to that type. But will they be patient enough to do that with the season they're having right now? That's a big question.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, but you know what? That is what, when he answered that question about, I mentioned John Cooper and Barry Trotz in Nashville, or sorry, in Long Island. That was a backwards, going back to Barry's resume there. But it was interesting because it really, to me, it sounded like they're going to evaluate and talk with Dom Ducharme and make sure that he's the right coach or not. We've heard Dale said it again on the show that, you know, Gorton's bringing in his own guy. So regardless of what Kent Hughes wants, maybe Gorton's already got another coach lined up, you know, so like, who knows, but that's a good point though. And you know what, it's the best of both worlds though, because Dom might get a better opportunity with another team elsewhere or even another league. And then we might get the right coach that's right for our team, but we don't even know what team that is yet. Right. So until we have a direction of, you know, what players we're keeping, what players we're not keeping, coaching really comes second, right? We have to select the players that are going to be on the team first. No?
Yeah, I think
Makes
it's
sense.
really important to just select the guys, and this is something that Hugh said as well, who want to be a part of the Montreal Canadiens culture. So I'm sure that's step number one before even considering coaching or whatever it may be in the future. But whatever they decide to go with, whether it be Ducharme or whether it not be Ducharme, I really think that I have my full faith and trust in this two-headed monster between Hughes and Gordon and even Molson. And I have confidence, at least. There he is, the beauty over there. But
So shiny.
I, yeah.